Hey, how's it going? Today is 22nd of May, Wednesday, and we are taking a look at the market, what kind of opportunities we can find. Let's take a look at what I believe will be very important announcements. There are a few of those. First one, that will be new nuclear power plant, earmarked for North Wales. Yesterday I was delving deeper and trying to understand different generations of plants. So that will be first, second, third plus, and fourth generation. But fourth currently, I think they don't have any existing prototypes, right? But overall output and production of energy, that's really very important for all regions, including UK. So let's try to understand a little bit about this article, I guess, but not necessarily it's worth the entire article. If anything, I'm looking to understand a little bit better what great people in the area are doing. I know this particular area, they making batteries out of lakes, so there's a lot of talented engineers. So perhaps they can deliver fourth generation of nuclear power plants, and safety would be massively improved compared to perhaps first generation, right? With additional layers improvements, right? But as of now, I haven't read this article, right? Perhaps they would touch on what kind of plant they're gonna build and who is gonna be used as a fuel. But either way, let's delve deeper. Some of the bullet points that would be, or entire article that were new nuclear power plant are marked for North Wales. Vilifies say in the government preferred site for the large-scale gigawatt nuclear power plant. So I would be interested, since I have some understanding, I guess, of different types of nuclear power plants, right? So I would be interested in what generation and a little bit more of the breakdown, what either way. Bullet points, so that would be Vilfa is Angle's first choice site for large-scale gigawatt nuclear power plant. Government launched talks with international energy companies to explore building power station at the site. Angle is to benefit from thousands of jobs and local investment in clear, clean, reliable, and cheaper power plants. So let's try to understand. I think we could solve this problem. By the way, I'm not supporting this project. Once that been said, they can solve this problem when it comes to energy production way better. I'm looking to understand it, right? Vilfa in Anglesey is government's preferred site for the UK's third mega nuclear power station, putting North Wales in prime position for benefit from a boost to its economy, prosperity, and support for UK's long-term energy security. The government is kickstarting talks with global energy firms to explore building a new power plant which could provide enough clean energy reliable powers and equivalent of around 6 million of today's homes for 60 years. It brings the UK closer to its ambition to up to a quarter of its project's electricity needs to come from homegrown nuclear power by 2050s by strengthening the nation's energy independence. The government is exploring building major nuclear power stations similar in scale in Hickley in Somerset. I think some of those I'm going to be mentioning in just a second. Some of those have been completed with projects or similar ones being completed by overseas partners, including places like Japan, right? I think it's Hyundai, but I'm not what similar name, I can't remember now. See as well in Suffolk. These new projects will review the nuclear history of Vilfa in bringing thousands of jobs and all investment in the area, boosting the local economy. Vilfa, sitting in the North Wales coast, is densely suited to host one given its proximity to cooling water, which potentially abundant, and nuclear heritage. That's not necessarily important. Great Britain's nuclear task will deliver the world's fastest small modular reactors competition. So that's why I'm interested in. But I think they have started this particular competition that they're referring to. I think they have started this one about 4 years ago, and they have selected 6 companies for faster, smaller, modular reactors, right? I think this competition started some time ago. Perhaps partners in Europe, they have started about 8 months or 6 months ago. So perhaps in Europe is have more diverse, different businesses, right? But either recently secured Wifla and Albury on Severn in Gloucestershire. That's Japan. That's a project 100% completed by some of friends in Japan as 2 possible sites for new nuclear projects. It was the first time the government acquired land for nuclear sites since 1960s. Okay. I don't know if it's worth it. Perhaps might be important. If anything, I'd like to touch on assets, right? So I'll finalize perhaps this video and close on assets. I think there's bigger things happening, right? UK is delivering biggest expansion of nuclear power in 70 years, and sustainable sites will be critical to meet ambitious to quadruple nuclear capacity by up to 24 gigawatts by 2050. This will come from a mix of traditional large-scale power plants and the small modular reactors, right? So if you would ask me, I think, but I'm not professional. It's very something I did a lot of research yesterday. I think smaller modular reactors process would be more of the factory built, right? So it would be sort of cheaper, faster, and more standardized compared to bespoke process of third generation of nuclear power plants, where they would build very custom or bespoke solutions, right? So I think smaller modular reactors, that would be fourth generation, and the fuels, right? Well, what would we use? Well, perhaps they might have some processes there. It's in particular process when it comes to approval process. So if it's custom made, they need to constantly do entire checks, right? If it's factory built and large scale, that would be perhaps small modular reactors, more of it, right? Which can be rolled out more quickly and all at scale. So I would highly recommend, but there are so many businesses, I think about 80 business who are interested in globally, and small modular reactors, about 8 or so, and I don't think any of those 8 are profitable. I don't think, but perhaps they should be, but I don't think that they are as of now, right? Since we're taking a look at nuclear, I think that both of these sectors are very important, and for people who know, I don't think it's profitable to build fourth generation small reactors. I don't think it's profitable. But let's say, I know we'll take a look at different moves. So that would be Royal Mail. Owner posed to accept 3.5 billion takeover bid. So I think it has something to do with the entire sector. But I would be reading it for the first time, by the way. I already know. Already there. It's a very common sense. So nobody else has that amount of money. It has to be nuclear. It has to be nuclear. Well, it's long story. I already know things, but I could do a little bit of quick research. So I think that there's a man there. I think this man understands it, works it, and at least perhaps 2 decades of experience in energy production. I would say that. Well, I don't know yet. I would be reading it for the first time, but I might guess. Well, I guess, right? So let's delve deeper, perhaps, and close the video on this article. But I think this, as I mentioned, this man works in energy production, right? The owner of Royal Mail is supposed to accept the improved takeover bid worth about 3.5 billion from shareholders and all Czech billionaire Daniel Kretinsky. International Distribution Services (IDS) said that they received a proposal for 370p a share from Mr. Kaczynski, EP Group. It marked its improvement of the initial 320p share cash bid made in April for the shares in IDS that does not already own. Okay, logistics perhaps I see a lot of perhaps I don't know if you'd ask me how UK is operating this company, it's not operating that well. That's opinion, right? I'm just saying, in my opinion, this company could be run way better. Once that been said, I don't know. So I have taken a look at the news reporters. I think it was yesterday discussing this article, and they were said that there's some pushback about who owns it, since the person mentioned not necessarily located in the UK. So I think there's some pushback there. What you doing? So I don't know, it's worth reading the entire article. What I'm saying is 3.5 billion take over bid and Royal Mail and a lot of subsidiaries perhaps. I'm not entirely sure what will happen to those. We can briefly, perhaps if we were touching on my wild guess, if this person actually works in energy production or not. So there's entire article. I would highly recommend for people to read it. Most likely I will lose all the people I know interest. It is the way how this article is written. It seems like a person is actually looking to introduce people to this person. I don't know. What I'm interested in, perhaps what's the core expertise of this person, right? So if you were asking me, so this production, right? And there's an entire article, but I'll try to skip to some of the bits what I personally believe would be important, right? The biggest deal were made with the semi-state energy company called ZEC, about 70% of shares owned by the Czech Republic, where Kaczynski's managed to find many allies across the level of management. That's it. That's it. I already know this person knows what he's doing. It's the only thing that I was interested in. Let's close that. Thanks for watching. See you next one.